Well, here we are, everybody, for a bonus show. We didn't even announce that we were going to do this. We decided to at the last minute. And I always like doing these call-in shows, although my Twitter Spaces isn't working. I've got to tell you.
I can see 50 people there.
It's the Wi-Fi. I have all kinds of...
Don't turn it off, whatever you do.
I'm having all kinds of...
disconnect and then we'll have to do it
I had to start it again, everybody. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I have all kinds of trouble with the Wi-Fi here.
Oh, God.
Couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. It's unable. My phone's not hooking into the Wi-Fi.
I'll make the new event.
But good times. No, it's not that, Caleb. Oh, I see. You have to start all over.
Yeah, I'll make a new one.
This is awesome. We're learning about Twitter Spaces as I'm in real time here. Okay, so here's the deal. A little bit to talk about on BA.5 and some thoughts about that. A little bit to talk about, let's see, as it pertains to the PSAs about nuclear attacks here in New York City. I brought that up with Susan yesterday. I'm like, did you see that thing? I mean, what is that all about? Very weird. Little monkeypox talk, little store closure, and we'll get into all of it in your calls. Let's get to it.
Our laws, as it pertains to substances, are draconian and bizarre. The psychopath started this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous. I'm a doctor, for Christ's sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that? I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. If you have trouble you can't stop and you want to help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say.
All right, let me get right to it here.
I hope you have a lot to say because we don't have any callers. We can't get the Twitter Spaces.
I always have a lot to say, I'm afraid, everybody. Thank you, Maria G, about Megyn Kelly, but something caught my eye here. Let me kind of find it again.
Send Drew the new one.
Yeah, send me the new link.
I'm making it right now.
Let's see.
On his phone, not his
No, it's
email.
whatever. Somebody was asking here, should I panic again about monkeypox? Where did I see him? I'm sorry, on the restream I'm looking for. I saw you there for a second. Put it up again on the stream. I'll call your name out. Hey, Andrew Ashkazvili is here today. So here's what I was thinking about. I was looking at all the other... The press is so... Haven't we gotten used to how false the press is, how fake the press is, how much they go for the extreme and the panic? Just think about this. There are 60 cases of monkeypox in San Francisco. There are 9,500 cases of monkeypox in the world. That's nothing. There are 4 billion people or whatever the amount is in the world. Now, infectious disease specialists and the CDC and the World Health Organization should be concerned about it. They should be making very diligent efforts to roll out the vaccines and get the at-risk populations educated up and give them the proper therapies and vaccines. It's men who have sex with men predominantly, okay? That's it. But to make a panic about that, when I made a list of some of the other some of the other infectious diseases that are out there that are vastly more dangerous. I actually wonder if they're racist at heart, because many of these are African and Caribbean illnesses: tularemia, brucellosis, tuberculosis, chikungunya, Rift Valley fever, Lassa fever, polydrug-resistant Acinetobacter, Crimea Congo hemorrhagic fever. These are much more common and much more serious. Much more common and much more serious. And no vaccine, or a very minimal vaccine for most of them. You can't do this. You can't talk about monkeypox without contextualizing it so the public can understand there's a lot worse shit out there. A lot.
But we should have a vaccine for non-hetero people having sex and wanting to avoid the disease. I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
You're not going
to make it a panic is not good.
I'm not sure what you're saying, but
I mean, if it was AIDS, you would want to have a cure for it or a vaccine.
AIDS, we were expecting it to break out of the same-sex community, and
making
it did
everybody
in Africa.
freak out about it is just not right.
Right. That's right.
Okay, did you get your Twitter Spaces
I'm up.
going?
I'm up and running.
Whoop,
Twitter
whoop.
Spaces.
Okay,
going.
everybody, taking your calls.
So let me look at your guys' comments about that. And now BA.5. Here's the thing about BA.5. BA.4, BA.5. Yeah, Margaret, the press may be hopeless after all. Making people freak out is good ratings, Toms, but it's reprehensible and unethical, and it's about time we saw through it. Don't get nervous. I for years have been just mortified by the way medical stories are reported by the press. I remember I was standing in a patient room, and the Every Morning show was talking to some Australian doctor who announced that ulcers and gastritis were now cured by an antibiotic. It's all over. It's an antibiotic. It's an infectious disease. They were talking about H. pylori, which of course we knew about at the time. We'd known about for years. It doesn't cure anything. It helps some people. But there's many other aspects of the pathogenesis of those processes. And the press had no business even reporting on it, let alone dedicating morning shows to it. So stop. And it's really down to the Gelman amnesia, right? So things you know about, like if they ever do an article on you, you'll see how distorted everything is that come out in the press. So you look at that and you go, oh, wow, they really don't know what they're talking about. Dr. Gelman was a physicist. And he looked at all whenever there's physics reporting, he said, geez, they don't know what they're talking about. But let's talk about international relations. They seem to have their shit together there. So that's Gelman amnesia. They don't. They distort everything. And they're going for eyes. They're going for views. They're going for traction. And the medical stuff, it just has to stop. They must, if they don't contextualize it, don't listen to them. How does monkeypox compare to tuberculosis in San Francisco? Guess what? They have a much worse problem with tuberculosis in San Francisco. And that is contagious to everyone. And by the way, you don't know when people are walking around with it, and it's in the streets, it's everywhere. So what are we talking about, everybody? What are we getting? Why do you even know about it? That's what really kills me. Why do you even know about it? So, okay, I am successfully up on the Twitter Spaces.
We have 94 people there, so
Great.
Somebody must have a good question.
Great. If you guys have questions, just raise your hand or your request to come up.
And then we see your Restream questions too, and your Rumble rants. We're definitely watching you over there as well.
Oh,
right, Drew?
I have
Did
not
you get
seen the
on
Rumble
there?
rants. Hold on, I gotta re-up that.
We kind of ran in here in a hurry because I had to go to the store and get a Cat 6 cable.
For some reason, I don't see anybody on the Rumble rants, so you
Well,
guys are
they might
welcome
not be
there.
there yet, so
Okay.
They will. They'll start.
I'm watching. Tom Cigar says, and of course, it boils down to politics, just like everything else since 2020. You know, Tom. It's more than just politics. It is. There's something our characters got screwed up, and we've got to really get our oars back in the water, or get our what do they call it? We get the to get the rudder right. Yeah, get going with it. Get the sails up properly, and whatever. Okay, I'm looking at you guys.
Get all nautical on us.
Tom
Drew,
says
you gotta
there's
unmute
politics,
Spaces.
that's the problem there. Okay, for Spaces,
Hello, everyone.
Hi there. Yes, if you guys are there, just raise your hand, and if you do, I'll bring you up. It's requested to come up and chat, ask questions, anything you want to talk about, and you will be, by doing so, you are consenting to be streamed out in this open forum on Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever we stream out. So let me talk to Jag first, and see what Jag is up to. Jag, your mic is muted. That's the other thing. There you are.
Hey there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Dr. Drew, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, so I was on with you about 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I tested positive yesterday. And it was funny. I posted you on Facebook, and I'm like, I think Dr. Drew jinxed me.
I'm sorry.
Because it was literally like, do I get boosted? And you're like, no, you're probably better off getting the virus.
Well, I personally, I think I told you, I had the exact same experience. Just as it was last December, and I was thinking, should I get boosted? It'd probably be better if I got it within a week. I had it.
I literally, and it was so funny because we got off the call, and I started feeling a little weird, and then Monday night, I woke up in the middle of the night with the worst sweats. I mean, I was drenched.
Yeah.
And I tested, believe it or not, I tested negative at first, and then
typical.
Then a little later on is just the sweats. I guess the reason I was filling you in again is because I'm kind of curious, because I'm now on, I guess, day 3.
Yeah.
But I don't feel worse. My headache's gone.
It's been in most people, particularly young people who are vaccinated, it's been, I'm not saying I haven't seen some nasty BA.5. I have. But for the most part, it has been very mild. Yeah. Very mild. And I have not been using Paxlovid in young people.
Most people like me.
I've been using it.
He saw me. It was nothing burger.
Well, not just you. I've just today had 2 80-year-olds that came down with it. One was a runny nose. The other was fever and sick, and she got the Paxlovid. And so and I, by the way, in the meantime, seen 20, 40-year-olds in that sort of middle age group, and it was all very, very, very mild. All vaccinated, to be fair. And it's a very strange condition. Here's the other thing about the BA.5 that I find interesting. And you tell me if this fits with how you contracted it. The R naught, which is sort of the degree to which a virus spreads, 1 to 1 versus 1 to 3, and how many people you're likely to infect at a certain distance. And the R naught of alpha and delta was between 3 and 5, essentially. For BA.5, it's like, and I've read a couple articles on this to make sure I had it correct, somewhere between 16 and 18, that you are, it's like measles. And so if you walk through a room that somebody had been in with COVID, you're likely to contract it. So using a mask, I don't know how, I mean, by all means, if you're worried, put your damn N95 on. But you're gonna, if you're gonna try to protect yourself with N95, you cannot lower it to blow your nose or to drink some water or to take some food.
Don't you mean to protect others if you have it?
You don't protect. It doesn't protect other people.
It doesn't. Yeah.
I can't. I've been telling you this.
It makes you feel better about yourself. Though,
it makes you feel better. That's fine, and it might do a little something. Maybe a little bit. But really, it's you. If you want to protect yourself, like Susan. If you'd had an infectious disease and you were in a hospital bed, and I walked in as the doctor, I'd be wearing the mask, not you, right? Now, I might put a mask on you to kind of, if you were coughing vigorously and that kind of thing.
Why didn't you put a mask on?
Let's not get into it. I'm not going to, because I don't care.
You didn't get it either.
Yeah, I've got really robust immunity
I
right now.
know, you're in really good shape these days. It's usually me that's in better shape. It's weird.
So Susan, do you have it right now too?
She had it.
I'm over it.
She had it.
I did it again.
Yeah, she did it again. She
a
had it.
week ago.
Yeah, and she's all through it. But really, it was a nothing. It was a nothing for her.
I guess that was my chiming in because watching a lot of the news and it's like, oh, it's highly obviously, like we just said, with the 16 to 18, it's crazy. I mean, I'm a homebody. I work from home. I think I went to Walmart and then I went to a restaurant over the weekend and nothing closed really. And I'm like, I could have got, everybody's asking, where do you think you got it? I said, I don't know, 7-Eleven.
Right.
Like I have were you wearing a mask? I'm like, no, of course not. Why, there's no way to protect us but I guess my point now is I'm on day 3. I actually feel so much better in the last 2 days, and everybody's like, well, just watch it. It could always get worse. And I'm like, I don't see how, but I like you said, I'll be humble because you just never know.
Be humble. It's a nefarious illness. It's a weird illness, but yeah, it's been very mild for the most part. And the probability of you needing treatment is really low.
But if you don't have a fever.
Let's remind her, fever is one of the threshold symptoms I've been sort of using as whether or not to treat with Paxlovid. But if somebody had severe muscle aches and the severe headache and all and prostration,
so let me just share really quick, and then I'll jump off and let somebody come on.
Yep.
The first symptom I had was a massive headache.
That's
one
common.
that I've never had.
That's common.
Never had it before. It was my entire head.
Yeah.
And then shortly after, the chills like I couldn't believe under the blanket.
Yeah.
And then it immediately turned into the body sweats. But I never developed a fever.
You probably did. You probably did right before you had the sweats, right? So the chills is your temperature going up. The sweats is your temperature going down.
Oh, okay. Well, then, I probably, and then sweating it out, I actually took my temp and it was still 98 point something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for now, like I said, I'm just tracking it right now after all of that has passed so far. It just feels like a little bit of sinus congestion. And like I said, thank you. You jinxed me. I'm happy.
You're all done. Now the question is, will you be, if you ever want to travel internationally, will that be adequate? That's the really shitty thing. You know what I mean? So now they're saying,
well, I
document it.
I literally am. I'm documenting my tests and my positivity, but
send it to your doctor and then have them document it. Then if you travel, you can show that you
France
had
is the only
COVID.
country I know of that will listen to that.
Those things are going to change. If you said, I had COVID 3 months ago and I want to fly, I don't need a vaccine.
Well, I'm glad you're getting through
I don't plan on traveling internationally for some time simply because God forbid you test positive, you're trapped.
Yeah,
so,
that's for sure.
I don't want to do that either. But thank you very much again. I'll keep listening.
Okay.
Be well.
Pleasure. Thank you. You too. All right, I'm looking at you guys are requesting to come up here. Give me a second to look at the restream and at the Rumble rants. Oh, there you are. Ollie Loving is here, but I only see you, Ollie. I don't see anybody else. I don't know if anybody else is there.
No chatters.
And where's our J Hep friend?
Shep.
Jahan.
Yep.
Hi, Insane Crazy. There's a YMH fan in there. 2/3 of those with long COVID complain about being unable to sleep. What's worse is that the problem is affected African Americans 3 times more than other ethnicities. Sweet George, there's a lot of weird observational data flying around out there that doesn't really fit with what we're seeing clinically. What we're seeing clinically is people get sick. If they get really sick, they have some persistent symptoms similar to what you would have from any other severe illness. I can tell you that when you're sort of still recovering from this thing, memory changes, better or worse, kind of common, difficulty concentrating, some fatigue, difficulty doing things. It goes on for a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month. And during that time, yes, sleep disruptions and all kinds of funny things. It is much like a concussion, very similar to a concussion. And I'm certain that data is clear, is accurate. But you'll also see data saying that there's end organ damage. We've been telling you there's end organ damage. Yes, when you get really sick, there is end organ damage. That's any illness. And there can even be brain shrinkage from many severe illnesses. And in adult medicine, you recover from that. Your body heals. Much the way if you broke your arm, it would heal. You damage your liver, it heals. Liver is particularly resilient. Turns out the brain, most of the damage is in the glue or glial cells, which they recover. So it's to get overly focused on these catastrophizing stories. You have to contextualize it. You must.
I just find it really weird. It's like now you get a common cold, and if it's COVID, you have to stop your life. Like, it's weird, just because you test positive.
Well, I mean, it's a problem. There's a new variant out there, a BA.2.217 or something like that, that has like many new mutations in it. Boy, see, that's a COVID brain right there. Maybe
shut up.
Many new mutations in it, and it appeared throughout the globe simultaneously. Very weird, and they don't know what that's all about. So they're worried about the virus's ability to create all these mutations. Yeah, I guess. People don't know that I'm saying the BA.5 COVID variant. When I say BA.5, I'm talking about COVID. BA.4, BA.5, BA.2. These are all, and then I also talked about Alpha and Delta, which are the original variants, and then now we're talking about Omicron BA.5. So Omicron BA.5. By the way, I saw a video with Anthony Fauci talking today, and he was the Anthony Fauci I love. He was himself. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, that's Anthony Fauci.
He has COVID brain now.
He's back. He was very sensible. He was very even. He contextualized things. He was saying, we're not mandating, relax, we're here to recommend things. And like, oh my God, I was like, wow, listen, we can listen to this man again. So good news, everybody. All right, let's get Anthony up here. He's been waiting a little bit to ask a question. Anthony, yep, unmute.
How are you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I had a quick question regarding getting vaccinated after already having one vaccine shot. Okay. So I got COVID back in March of 2021, and I got my first Moderna vaccine in June. I was wondering, I live with my 65-year-old grandfather. He's been vaccinated twice. I did not get the second shot, but I was wondering if I should get it now or what you think. How
long ago was your first shot?
It was in June.
Do you have a physician you can talk to about it?
I have insurance through work. I would have to get hooked up with them.
It's not ideal, but yeah, I probably would do that. The good news is that it's hard. It's really no one knows. Look at Vinay Prasad's Twitter feed, and he talks about this a lot. Should we just be giving young males one vaccine? He at very minimum is saying we should separate the vaccines by a month or two, which is what you've done, which is great, because having done so significantly lowers the risk of myocarditis. Now, the thing is, you're in a hybrid situation. You've had COVID, you've had one vaccine. How much more is a second one going to do for you? And by the way, the present mRNA vaccine is not really covering BA.5 or Omicron. So it's really hard to make that call. That's why I would want you to sit down with your own doctor and make this decision.
I was wondering about the efficacy of the vaccines that are out there now and the new variant.
They're not very effective, but the CDC is still recommending it. So, it's a tough putt, right? And a 65-year-old is not at super high risk from COVID. And as I've said, Omicron that I've seen has been relatively, at least BA.5 has been relatively mild. What if it were me? I'm not giving you this advice, but if it were me, what I might do is, because I felt like I had hybrid immunity and I was in pretty good shape, I might wait till the new Omicron vaccine comes out in the late summer and fall and just take that. That's what I would probably do. Okay?
I'll still talk with my physician. I appreciate it.
You bet it. Okay.
Also, I loved you on Legion of Skanks, and I listened to Dr. Drew After Dark all the time.
Thank you, Anthony. But Anthony, try to explain to my wife what Legion of Skanks was, and to the listeners that care.
I didn't go.
It's a bunch of gentlemen who hang out and they have a good time, and Dr. Drew was a good boy.
I tried to fit in. With those guys. It took some doing, I got to tell you. And let's be clear. Those guys are sharp. They are fast. They are funny. I had to really concentrate to get in with them, and they were drunk as high as shit. I don't know how they did that. I kept telling Lewis, I don't know how you're able to do this. It's craziness. But
you should really talk to Lewis about his dab usage. I don't know how he functions.
That's what I'm saying. So there is a plan afoot for us to go to Skankfest. So come on, Susan.
Sorry for my shaky voice. I love your podcast. I listen all the time.
All right, my
friend. I have anxiety. Goodbye.
All right, Anthony. Goodbye.
God bless Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony. But you don't want to go to Skankfest?
I do.
I've always threatened. We've gone to Ellis Mania several times. I've been threatening to go to the Juggalo gathering, and I thought like Skankfest might be an intermediate move for me. That's all I'm saying.
You were invited to the Juggalos.
I know, but that actually sounds dangerous. That I'm a little worried about.
They were really cute.
The Skankfest, I imagine, it's just like Caleb's laughing at me.
It's just funny.
Caleb, do you understand what all this stuff is?
You get invited to these crazy things.
You would have to bring a film crew with you to the Juggalos. Like, it would have to be something that's taped.
And a security force.
Well, yes,
but how about Skankfest? Tell me more about
that. That's what I'm for.
How about the Skankfest? Tell me more about that.
I'm not familiar with the Skankfest, so I just thought that it was funny that a couple of days ago, whenever you first mentioned it, that Tom, the moderator on Twitch, had to add the word skanks to allow it when people were commenting it, because it kept kicking people off from their moderation queue. So he had to add the word skanks as an allowed term. So now all the commenters can say that on Twitch now.
So insane crazy, I am scrolling up and all I see is a bunch of memes from your mom's house. So I'm sorry, I'm not seeing anything else. Say, damn dude, I hope you get it all figured out. Okay, so where is that? You know what, okay, I can scroll a little further. I think, my friend, you're going to have to I didn't see it. So I'm sorry. Anyway, let me, and by the way, if I'm talking to someone on the Twitter, best that you don't. Here you go. Okay. Though I had an accident at work involving a machine exploding, 80% burn. We've been struggling with depression and addiction, and he's just. Who is this? His dad?
Yes.
A lot of trouble with pain, and why me? Why didn't I just die? Would love to talk one day, but I have to gather myself, and personally wouldn't like it to broadcast necessarily. So insane crazy. I mean, these are really, I mean, this is what medicine is about, right? Which is really serious illness and injury and trying to diminish. Our first job is to make them better, but the second is to diminish suffering. And boy, nothing hurts more than burns. Nothing is more disfiguring than burns. Nothing is more disabling than burns. Now, what I will tell you is most people, I don't know how far out he is from these burns, but most people go through a depressive phase that they come out of, and they find a way to be thankful and happy again for living. It's not easy, and some people don't. Let's be fair. But there are treatments out there, and there are ways to, obviously his pain management is number one. I don't know how you can even talk about addiction in the setting of that big a burn situation, because it just doesn't,
That's what it's made for.
Yeah, this is what it's for. Now, I will tell you, if he's starting to have behavioral disturbances from the opioids, look into Suboxone as a high-dose Suboxone as an alternative to the short-acting opiates and opioids he might be getting. So one thing to do is look into Suboxone. The next thing is to find somebody that does work with people whose lives have been upended by profound illness or profound injury. I mean, even people that have quadriplegia and things like that, they do often go through that "why didn't I die" thing, and they come around. So just stay a little positive. I hope it hasn't been too many months or years since this all happened to him. But there are things to be done. Okay, here we go. Let me try to get to Amanda here. Amanda, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is Amanda.
Hey, what's happening?
Lots of different things. First off, I want to say that Jag, I hope you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else that has COVID or any other illnesses. But the one thing that my doctor gave my husband, because he thought he had COVID at one time, but tested negatively. He was just sick. So she recommended like vitamin D, 2,000 units,
correct,
aspirin, 81, vitamin C, 500 milligrams, and zinc.
That is the Zelenko protocol.
Get the Z-Pack.
Yeah, we were helping Dr. Zelenko push out his little vitamin thing. We miss him. He died of a terrible illness.
But he's still selling his vitamins.
It's all in one pill, I think.
Yeah, it's one pill. Do we have the banner?
Yeah.
And there's debate about how much vitamin C and how much D and whether or not zinc really does anything, and whether you should also be taking quercetin because you need some sort of inophore to get the zinc into the cells. But yes, you're right. Now that is not technically a treatment. It was originally called the not the Virginia plan, the math program, Math Plus. It was called the Math Plus. And it really was more about trying to boost people's immune function as much as possible to fight off the illness as it came in. But it wouldn't hurt. Wouldn't hurt. Again, I don't know how long people should stay on zinc. That's a challenging question these days because it can affect copper metabolism. But go ahead.
Okay, and I have another question too, because of course with school restarting, my daughter's 16, and of course, with her immune system, so far she hasn't gotten COVID, but my husband works in the restaurant industry, and so we're kind of thinking, should she go ahead and still wear a mask this year, or do you think we should go ahead and just let her get it? Because I know my family has gotten COVID and they've gotten over it very quickly.
Again, these are very interesting questions, and I'm glad I don't have to make them for young people. They're difficult questions, and I hope you'll make it with her pediatrician. If she chooses to wear a mask, it has to be a properly fitting N95 mask, and she has to wear it all the time whenever she's indoors, period. If she's going to try to do that. And the probability of her avoiding it if it's around is kind of low anyway. It depends how much of a trouble that is to her.
Well, and plus being asthmatic, just like a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm going to talk to her doctor and see. But my other question is, I've been dealing with hyperacusis, or at least that's the diagnosis I have for the last couple of years. And then now they think we might have frontal lobe seizures. And
you might have frontal lobe seizures?
Yes.
So you let me just, so you must have seen a neurologist, yes, for this?
Yes.
And how long has it been going on for?
Seriously, since September of 2020. So I'm now on disability, and I want to get this to stop because I don't like being at home. I mean, I used to go out and do stuff, and so instead of, now I've gained weight and I hate it, and I can't do things like
what are the symptoms? How does it affect your day and day out functioning? What is it? Where do you get the symptoms? What are they? I'll say I feel weird, and then that's when a seizure starts, and it basically starts where the head, it'll hurt really bad in certain areas, and then my eyes will start going down, and I have no control of that eye. And then once it shuts, all my body movements, I have no control. I can still hear, Okay.
but I have no control of any of my body.
Yeah.
And here lately, they've been getting worse and lasting 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then I'm really tired afterwards. And so, my husband's done research, but then again, you're more on the medical side.
So go
and
ahead.
I'd like to get your input. So what do you think? I've had EEGs. I'm requesting another EEG and an MRI, but I have to be put to sleep
Why?
for MRI because I can't do the machine because sounds bother me.
Okay. And did you have spike waves in your EEG?
Well, it was more when I was in the hospital, I was plugged in and had a video. And so my first neurologist I had was basically an a-hole. But the next neurologist, he was more on the hyperacusis side. And he said, yes, we saw some damage, or you might have either had a heart attack or a stroke in the past, but I don't remember having one.
Okay, none of this is making sense, I got to tell you. Heart attack has nothing to do. You mean stroke, not heart attack?
Yeah,
Okay.
they think that I've had a stroke
Okay,
or
so you had a
something.
stroke. Okay, so it's something damaged a little part of your brain, a head injury or a stroke.
Yes.
And they saw it on SPECT scan,
The MRI.
MRI.
On the MRI.
And so your EEGs, and did they do continuous EEGs? You did them like in a monitored unit where they do EEGs constantly?
Yes,
And,
like 72 hours.
Right. And they did not see spike wave when you had the seizure activity, correct? They did not see the EEG change.
Because
correct.
they were more looking for epileptic.
Right, got it.
Mine are non-epileptic seizures.
Got it. Okay, got it. So, yes, so what's the question about this?
Well, basically, my daily function is not normal.
No.
Like I can't work
hear
through
you.
work.
What's the question? Get down to a
but the
specific question.
is,
All right.
But I'm trying to think of it. It's just that's the problem. Is my brain function
I know.
is crazy.
So are they
so
recommending?
do you think,
Do I think? Go ahead.
I mean, depending on the next MRI, do you think I should go ahead and consider having surgery?
No.
So that way I can get back into a normal life, because I am taking about 10 meds a day.
Yeah. What I don't want to get too deep into this, but what surgery do they want to do?
Probably go back in the behind the head.
Mm-hmm. Put a stimulator in.
Yes.
Okay. I would think you would be able to find something that would work for this medication wise. If they recommend a stimulator to you, fine. I don't have a lot of confidence that would work either, but you need to go to even a place. There are people that specialize in non-epileptic seizures. They're complicated, and they're protean, and they're frustrating for everybody. And they tend not to respond to usual meds and things. So I'm not surprised you're on a bunch of things. So that would be. I mean, you really are disabled by this. You want to get back to living. That would be my recommendation. Find a center that really has specialization in non-epileptic seizures. The medicines may be causing as much problem as your seizures right now, because if you're on 10 meds, that is not good. And there are behavioral and all sorts of feedback ways of dealing with non-epileptic seizures. They're not. They were marginalized for many years. That's why you're dealing with neurologists that are sort of pushing you aside. But there are people that take them very seriously. I think UCLA has a big program for this. So I got to take a break. Thank you for your call. We're going to take a break and then come back with more calls after this. I think we have found the holy grail of skincare. Genucel has absolutely changed, certainly my skincare regimen. I like that vitamin C serum, the under eye creams, skin nourishing primer. Susan loves the eyelash enhancers, uses it on her eyebrows as well. Genucel has everything to make us both feel and look amazing. Best part, the quality of the products. Using pure ingredients like antioxidants, copper peptides, and a proprietary calendula flower base, Genucel knows how to formulate products to perfection without irritation. For Susan, she hates that annoying dry area under her nose during allergy season, like right here. She's tried everything, but no matter what, the skin is flaky and dry. Nothing seemed to help until she started using Genucel's Silky Smooth XV Moisturizer. It soaked right into the skin. She was hooked after one use and now loves all of their products as well.
I am a snob when it comes to using products on my face. The dermatologist makes a ton of money from me. But when I was introduced to Genucel, I was so happy because it's so affordable and it works great. I was introduced to the Ultra Retinol Cream, which I love at night. All the eye creams are amazing. People notice my skin all the time, and I'm so excited because it's actually working.
Right now, you can try Genucel's most popular collection of products and see what I'm talking about for yourself. Go to Genucel.com and enter code DREW for 10% off. That is GENUCEL.com, and the code is DREW.
And the Genucel Immediate Effects eye cream will show results in just 12 hours. And
so they have a package going on right now. It's like $500 worth of product for $169. You save 66%, and it has all the things I use.
Why don't you?
Ultra Retinol.
You better do that because I know you're going to be buying lots of their stuff.
Corrector. They've got the eye cream you just spoke of. Immediate Effects 2, and then also they have the XV cream that I like around my nose for that. But
by the way, and Susan's in the ads, which is nice, and when she says, and I'm so excited because that is how she said it. She actually literally, I could tell that's her.
My esthetician noticed it, and you know what else? I'm just going to tell people, if you get one of these packages, you got to add on. They have hyaluronic, and they also have the that deep firming serum, which I live for, and I put it everywhere. It firms up your crepey skin on your legs if you have it. It's really good.
Excellent. Well,
I know, I love it. I use it now. I
use it. This is a good product, and we're happy to be behind it. So,
and I love the affordability of that. I mean,
well, I like the fact that
66% off.
Yeah, maybe you want to take advantage.
I mean, all those products at the esthetician or the dermatologist are $500 when you go in there. So. You can get started, get your regimen started, and then maybe just add a couple of things on.
That's crazy.
No, it's good for your skin though.
I mean the fact that the dermatologists and stuff charge so much.
Well, it's all
same stuff.
It's got, some of it is the same stuff. So, but I always buy a good skin cream, especially in the summer. I go in the sun. I use sunscreen. Everybody should use sunscreen on top of all this stuff. But it's really good for your skin. So get in there. So, support our sponsors.
Aaron Howell wants to blurt out some medical suggestions, which I'm happy to have you do. I'm happy to get in that kind of discussion. I thought, and so you're saying that you wouldn't be covered under Good Samaritan laws, but I think you might be. And make it clear, this is educational you're talking about. Child overweight, immune compromised, COVID can hit them harder. That's true. Yeah, they may not, Aaron, the kid doesn't have asthma. She was saying she was worried about wearing the mask because of the asthma. Doesn't have COVID. She has asthma, but not COVID. Okay. Let me look back over at the Rumble Rant's going now. Okay. Suboxone is awful. Have you ever lived with someone on that? That's for replacement therapy for opiate addiction. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about for pain management when somebody had lost control of their ability to regulate their opioid and pain control. In that case, Suboxone actually can really help some people. If you're using it for just heroin addiction or something, then it's a much more complicated story. Let's see. COVID is BS. Variants popping up. Yep. Let me see. Fauci gives us AIDS from HIV. No. Okay, you're ranting away there, guys, and I appreciate that. And over on Restream, I want to look at what you guys are saying there.
Let's talk about that nuclear.
Oh, yeah. So go ahead.
The nuclear.
So there was
seen it yet.
So was it yesterday I first brought it up to you?
Yeah.
I go yesterday. I go, Susan, have you seen that ad that the New York City's put out where they're telling you what to do in the event of, and it starts out with, don't ask why, don't wonder why this happened. Here's what we're going to tell you're going to do when a nuclear bomb goes off.
So you saw this on TV?
I think I saw it on YouTube, something like that. I saw it. Because I haven't been watching TV, so I think I saw it somewhere else. But it was by the New York Safety Commission or something, and it essentially says, here's what you do. You go inside immediately, you go towards the center of the building, and you stay inside. and here it is. Here it is. This is it. Caleb was playing it. This opening sequence is kind of crazy.
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why, just know that the big one has hit, okay? So what do? There are 3 important steps that I want you to remember. Step 1, get inside.
Isn't that crazy?
Fast. You, your friends, your family, get inside. And no, staying in the car is not an option. You need to get into a building and move away from the windows. Step 2, stay inside. Shut all doors and windows. Have a basement? Head there. If you don't have one, get as far into the middle of the building as possible. If you were outside after the blast,
Wait, keep playing it because there's a part in here. Keep going. The last part is the part that's kind of striking to me.
To keep radioactive dust or ash away from your body. Step 3, stay tuned. Follow media for more information. Don't forget to sign up for Notify NYC.
Follow media, which they've just spent the last 2 or 3 years eroding their legitimacy and their ability to trust them. So listen to media in the face of a nuclear holocaust where there's no power. What are we going to do? How are you going to listen to media?
Isn't won't your phones be dead too?
Of course, you're going to have a winding radio. Radio where you get the power. And they did not suggest anything like that.
No, you can have a radio with batteries. They didn't say get a battery operated radio.
Just listen to your phone like you always do. The 5G will be up and running. No, it will not.
Well, will the radio
stations
stations be up and running? They might have a generator.
AM radio broadcast over large periods of distance.
Okay, so this is how radio can come back. It'll be the only thing out there, but nobody has radios.
Right. So you have to get a crank radio or battery radio. That's the other way. But
yeah, you should have that in your kit, right?
Yeah.
In your
so
purse,
Caleb, am I making a valid point here that nobody trusts what the media is telling us, and by the way, we're not going to ask them why or what happened, and then finally we have a phone with a 5G system or a Wi-Fi with no power. How is that supposed to work?
I'm just thinking of
no advice about that.
I'm thinking of Susan's point about this is what would bring radio back, and I'm thinking of like a nuclear apocalypse love line scenario where it's like, should I date this person? He has 5 arms and 12 eyes from the apocalypse. Is this relationship gonna work?
Nobody's phones work anymore. We're gonna have to,
exactly.
You have to have a landline. Thank God I have one left in my house.
Soul Warrior vibe over at the Rumble Rant is on to it. He goes, do what the media tells you. Really? How's that going to go over? Yeah, that's right. So it's awful and funny and wow, kind of like I caught my attention yesterday and here it is.
It is kind of funny. It's like you have to go back to.
Do they know something? Is there something we should know?
Make sure you have batteries too.
How about we listen to media now? What made you do that? Why did you create that thing all of a sudden?
You want to hear the newscaster freaking out? That's what I can't wait for. But I mean, I think.
Well, Susan has a response. What are you going to do, Susan?
I'm just running out into the sun. Right. Drew will be saving Brady's lives, but unless he's got a big bag of Oxy or whatever, then I know that sounds selfish, but I don't know. I don't want to watch everybody die. So
Blake asked, what do I mean by a different story for those using Suboxone for opioid treatment? It's just a totally different setting, right? When you're using it for pain control where opiates are out of control, it's a very different setting than treating addiction to try to reduce the risk of relapse and the consequence of relapse. Very different situation, very different goals, very different time horizons, very different dosing. So just a different thing altogether. It's like saying if you're using an ARB for hypertension or for heart failure, very different. Or if you're using, and we use different medicines for different things, and how we use it and what we do and how we think about it, it's very different. So that's that. Okay, let me try to get back to.
Okay, Tom Cigar says we need a ham radio.
Yeah, I mean, but but the ham radios, Tom's, operate without power. I mean, you have no power.
Battery operated
solar
radios will work. Unless
I have a bunch of actual individual solar panels that I can plug radios and stuff into. So if there's an emergency,
they do have solar chargers for your phone too. But
I come from a family of conspiracy theorists, so I'm all prepared. We were very prepared for Y2K.
Excellent.
Send me instructions. I'll get a little kit in each one of my houses for Drew because he's going to be out saving lives.
Well, we'll try. Let me look at some things here real quick.
I might help him.
You might
get to the callers here. Sorry, Jose.
I'm not a nurse.
There we are. That's for sure. We've tried those skills.
I'm great with tech stuff, though.
Yes,
I know how to
hardware, toilets, tech, amazing. Biology.
I can stop your toilet from leaking, but
You have the funniest way about even thinking about biology.
yeah,
It's like,
I didn't study it. I wish I had. I really probably would have liked it.
Speaking of tech, my computer's not charging, and it's going to run out shortly here.
Make sure it's plugged in.
Okay, so Jose, are you?
Plugged in.
Good. You got to unmute your mic, Jose, and you can ask your question. You're still muted. The microphone's on the lower left-hand corner there. Gas power generator. Yeah, but if you're a nuclear holocaust in New York City, you don't have a gas power generator. Thank you, Mida Zircon. I see your Nooks Fry electronic equipment. Okay, we'll take that.
It's a serious thing, though. It's not
Yes, no
cool.
shit.
The government should send a
Insane crazy.
And a radio station.
Insane crazy. Touche. That's all I'll say. Touche. He's on to my OCD. Solar and ham radios. Oh, and lots of protection. Yeah, well, stay put, I guess.
I love the way they dress the woman speaking in her doomsday outfit. Like, she's all black from her neck down to her toes.
Who's
like,
this?
The woman who was in the ad. She She looked like she was going to a funeral for.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. So, Jose, you're still muted there, buddy. I'm not hearing anything. There's a mic button on the lower left-hand corner of your screen. If you click that, you should be able to speak. So, there you are. I got you. What's happening?
Not a whole lot. Actually, just took a COVID test about 2 hours ago and got back positive.
Oh, so welcome to the club. It's very common. It's on now. Our knot of 17, man. It's gonna go. It's gonna go around. So
it's my second go through. So actually, I forgot I had even requested because I was going to ask the question earlier. I had gotten my initial Moderna shot back in October, and was going to ask if any of the boosters were like anywhere near caught up to all the variants that have happened.
No, they're not. How old are you?
30.
Okay, so you're young to be even thinking about this. The CDC now is recommending it. I don't really get. I think what they're leaning on is their data that shows the vaccine reduces seriousness of illness. Sort of, I think they're leaning on it as expecting it to be across the board. So it doesn't prevent infection, especially not against Omicron, but it does seem to reduce seriousness of illness. Now, there was some data. Didn't I put it up yesterday, Caleb? That Canadian data. Do you still have that?
I have it.
There's some data there's some data that specifically refutes that and actually suggests the data goes the other way. I don't know. Data is data. You have to be very careful when you look at data. My sense is that the reason they're doing it is to reduce the seriousness of illness. But there it is. There's the data showing that you're more likely to get it, more likely to die, whatever. I don't know. It's hard data. There it is. I don't know. It's hard what to make of that data, frankly. But we'll keep an eye on it. In the meantime, no, it's not going to really do much for Omicron, but there's one coming out in this later summer in a couple of months that will, so you might just wait for that.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like from when you were talking to that previous caller.
Yep. But, now you've had Omicron, so you'll have hybrid immunity, and is something going to come after Omicron? These are all really tough questions. But if I were you, I would probably be waiting on it, and certainly not taking anything immediately after just having had Omicron. And again, it's more likely the BA.5, which is what everyone seems to have. I just got during here, one of the reasons I was a little preoccupied, I'm not able to get, one of my patients couldn't get Paxlovid. Oh, no. They won't, her insurance won't cover it. I thought they were available for free. Let me make that note. Was available for free through the government. Let's see. We got to get that email out. Available. The government. No. All right, let's see. But that's, here's somebody who's really sick, needs Paxlovid. I'm having trouble getting it. That's insane, of course.
Well, so Jeremy Murphy's mom got it. She's 74. I was going to see him this week, and he's going to Florida.
Get the Paxlovid.
I tried to tell him that.
Yeah, if she's sick.
Like,
I have another patient that's 85 and not sick. He has a runny nose.
Yeah.
So it depends.
I mean, the Paxlovid makes your mouth taste like metal. Paulina was pretty sick when she had it, and she had a sore throat for like 5 days, so she went on the Paxlovid.
Thank you. Alana, you're making a great point.
She didn't test positive.
Alana just made the point that actually pharmacists themselves can prescribe it.
Well,
yeah, it's true. They can.
You can also get free COVID tests when I went to Walgreens here in New York. They said, "Do you want free tests with your insurance?" And I went, "Sure." And he goes, "Well, you get 4 each, and 4 for your spouse." So she gave me 8 free tests.
Amazing.
Which are just sitting there. But,
right.
In case somebody gets it, you can test every 5 minutes if you want.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was by the way, that was the other thing that Fauci was saying that was so sensible in his it was an MSNBC interview I saw. And he was saying testing is widely available now, which at the time, the thought bubble over my head when he said that was, you were so right, sir. Why the F didn't we get here quicker? You're right. It's very important that we have this access. Why didn't we get here quicker? Now it's less important than it was back at the beginning. Okay, but here we are. Let me try to get another call in here if I can.
Now we're going to get monkeypox.
And Caleb, I actually have to wrap up in about 5 minutes, so a little bit early. Let me again look at what you guys are saying on the streams and the rants and everything. So hold on.
Wait, so can you say... what's the difference between the COVID tests that go in the nose and the ones that go in your throat? Because when I'm 100% convinced that I had COVID a second time a couple weeks ago, it was all the exact same symptoms, but it came back negative on the nose test. I did not do a throat test though, but I've heard that there could be different results from it. My wife and I both came back negative, and it was literally those same symptoms.
Yeah. There can be a lot of false negatives. Some people are swabbing their throats and they think they're getting better results, but let's be clear, the tests weren't designed for that. So
that's what Paulina did.
So you don't really know what you're doing.
She took one in her nose, and then she said, my friend did it at the throat. So she took the second one, and I go, oh, that's the way. She goes, this one's positive. But she had a really sore throat.
Yeah. So I don't know what to make of the throat.
I think the virus attacks certain areas on different people.
Correct. So on the Rumble rant there, as usual in the Rumble rants, a lot of kind of... I don't want to be pejorative, but some of the theories you guys suggest are way out. Here's the thing. To understand a scientific theory, you have to read widely the available literature that substantiates the theory. Not a study, not a philosophy, not a person's point of view. You have to get the primary documents. Somebody had a hypothesis, then you test the null hypothesis, and then you do the statistical analysis. And there's various versions of the similar kinds of testing done and research done, and then you start to accumulate a consensus of what you're looking at. And that hypothesis, which was just a thought, starts to look more like a theory. And when you can really predict the future with that theory, you are on to something. And in medicine particularly, you can not only predict the future, but then you can predict the response to treatment. Treatment is a predictable phenomenon. Or, I'm not saying that in any given case you can predict the future of the outcome, but given a series of cases, you can predict the profile of treatment response that will statistically develop. So predicting the future, so things like Koch's postulate. If I give Susan open a wound and throw staph in there, I will get a particular reaction. Then I can take that staph, put it on a petri dish, test it for antibiotic sensitivity, and then give that same antibiotic to the patient, and it gets better. That is how this works. So it's, there's there gets more complicated with certain other pathogens, but we try to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, let me see what's going on here with the caller. Sorry for that little aside.
It's 3:57.
It's you guys, it is, I actually have to break here at exactly top of the hour. And sorry for those little rants I went on that took me away from the call. So be quick
with your question.
No. I actually literally don't have time to do that.
Okay, never mind.
Let me just look at you guys on the restream and on the rant and the Rumble and see if there's anything.
We'll be back tomorrow, though.
Yes, we'll be back tomorrow. We have a guest tomorrow, yes?
But at the normal time, which is
3 o'clock.
3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m.
Guest
Eastern.
is Brian Dunkelman. There he is. Up
The
there.
guy who left American
Well,
Idol.
I don't know if he
I wonder what
left.
he's doing now.
I'm sure he's sick of telling the story. But
We were talking about this the other day. All the people who passed on, like I remember, was it Stryker passed on it on American Idol too because it was too pop. He worked at
he
K-Rock.
thought it was lame. He thought it was lame.
Yeah.
But this guy, I thought was this guy was into it. He was just sort of dismissed. I
think Ryan just overshadowed
So
him.
there we are. Well, I don't know what happened. Maybe he'll tell
Ryan's
us.
an amazing host. He
is.
But he was just a disc jockey at that point, and I had a conversation with him the first season. And he says, "I can't believe I have this job." I said, "You remind me of Rick Dees a lot." And he goes, "Oh, I hope I make a lot of money like him." And I go,
"Oh boy."
I said, "Listen, just be professional. Show up early. Like, don't mess with them."
Feedback on potential COVID gene alteration through either viral load or stem cell assisted vaccines. Patient history with catching Alpha and Omicron on natural full bloom. I'm not sure I meant getting your question, Aaron. Viral load of potential in gene alteration. Well, always with viral illness, right? There can be gene intercalation and there can be gene regulation issues. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of a virus is to get in our genome and go on forever, right? That's the goal of the virus. They find a way into us to get us to coexist with us and then replicate with us in such a way. I mean, I think a lot of the progress of evolution is viruses getting inside of the genome and changing what happens, right? I mean, we do that with our technologies now. And so that's, we use a bacterial technology more commonly with the CRISPR, but the viruses do the same thing. And there's always that potential. I don't think the virus has been able to do that yet. And usually when the viruses get to the point where they can do that, they're benign because whatever they're producing coexist with us. All right. Oh, thank you, Minor Zircon. Again, appreciate it. Speak to Viva Frey. He escaped Canada. Okay, Viva Frey. Let me just look at some of your other questions. I don't know who that is, but I'm going to have to. Feeling about the other COVID pill, not the Paxlovid. The molnupiravir, Rebecca. Molnupiravir isn't as effective. I think about giving it to people as a prophylactic agent if they've been exposed to somebody. That's mostly where it seems to have utility, though I have not prescribed it yet, but I think it is a good medication. The data on it look pretty good internationally. Okay, and then quickly over to the Rumble rants, you guys. I don't want to leave you guys out. Thank you, Soul Warrior, for the Godspeed. Sensible breakfast theory. Do viruses come from within as a means of detox? Are any studies indicating viruses being detected with many? I don't know what you're getting at, you guys. I don't don't get your questions sometimes. But viruses are extraordinary little, I guess we can call them an organism technically. And I do believe a lot of them come from outer space. That's why people freak out about us going to Mars or when an asteroid lands. I think stuff gets into the biosphere here via the outer space. And why shouldn't it? It's been around for trillions of years and they're viruses ubiquitously and they survive through everything. They're going to be around and changing and trying to survive in environments, not just our own, it seems to me. But who am I to say? All right. So thank you so much for being here, everybody. We appreciate it.
I just bought the Z-Stack.
What's the Z-Stack?
The Zev Zelenko Z-Stack. I
Good.
did.
Thank
I'm going to
you.
use it.
All right,
because
good,
you know
it's
what?
good.
I want to take 2 pills a day and have all my vitamins covered.
Look, I take the equivalent.
My
I don't take the
immunity's
zinc
kinda weird
anymore.
lately.
I don't think, but I take the D and the C and some other
Yeah, but
minerals.
it's all
and
in
things.
one pill.
I know, that's fine.
Well, 2. You have to take 2 a day. So
All right, that's fine.
that's not that
We'll be on Gutfeld tonight. Thank you all for
So everybody
support.
tune into Gutfeld
The
tonight.
topics are similar to some of the stuff we were
The
talking
number
about here
one
today.
late night show in television.
Right.
Funny, really funny and fun.
Wish Chris is out there.
Tyrus is going to be on.
Tyrus.
Kat's going to be on. And
We're going to have dinner with them afterwards. And Wish Chris is out pressure cleaning her driveway, Susan. Something
I know,
you enjoy
that's so
doing.
therapeutic. I need to do that.
Thank
We don't
you,
have any
Aaron.
water in California, though. We're not allowed to.
That's true. All right, I got to rush out here. Appreciate it. We'll be at 3 o'clock tomorrow with Brian Dunkelman, and hope to see you all then. Ask Dr. Drew is produced by Caleb Nation and Susan Pinsky. As a reminder, the discussions here are not a substitute for medical care, diagnosis, or treatment. This show is intended for educational and informational purposes only. I am a licensed physician, but I am not a replacement for your personal doctor, and I am not practicing medicine here. Always remember that our understanding of medicine and science is constantly evolving. Though my opinion is based on the information that is available to me today, some of the contents of this show could be outdated in the future. Be sure to check with trusted resources in case any of the information has been updated since this was published. If you or someone you know is in immediate danger, don't call me, call 911. If you're feeling hopeless or suicidal, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. You can find more of my recommended organizations and helpful resources at drdrew.com/help. So I haven't finished my sort of demonstration. Unfortunately, how did you get this thing around this thing? What did you do?
Practice.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I see. He's used a cock ring before, is what we're saying?
I have not.
All right. Ugh.
I have used a penis.
All right. So the point is, once you finish the pump, then you snap this thing on.
Did you just shoot it off?
This is.
I don't think I want that. You're gonna poke an eye out with that thing.
Well, I just thought of a new use of this. But anyway,